All right, guys, welcome back. We are going to look at some more solving of two-step equations, but we're going to move into a little bit more challenging. We're going to be looking at numbers, both fractions and decimals, but all the same rules apply. Okay, so let's take a look at this. In the last lesson, we worked with relatively simple two-step linear equations where the variable is only raised to the first power. That's a linear equation. In this lesson, we will continue to review solving these types of equations. Linear equations can certainly be messy and include more fractions and decimals than we have seen so far. So let's work with some of these. So exercise 1, we saw some equations that had fractions involved in the previous session and lesson. Now let's work with some that may have fractions. Solve each of the following two-step equations. Express your answers in simplest form. Okay, so let's look at A. First thing I'm going to do is my do-undo box. Do, undo. Okay, let's take a look at what's going on in this expression, this equation. First thing I notice is I have a number right next to my variable. That means that there is multiplication happening. Multiplication is one of the first things in our order of operations. So I know that one of the first things I'm going to do here is multiply. And I'm going to be multiplying by 2/3. And I'm just going to put a slash there for the fraction bar. So multiplying by 2/3 is the first thing in the do column. The second thing in the do column is adding this 1/4. So 1/4. Okay. So now that I know what my do is, to undo it, I have to go the opposite way. I have to do the opposite operations. So the opposite of adding 1/4 is subtracting 1/4. And the opposite of multiplying by 2/3 would be dividing by 2/3. Okay, we should get so good at this that we might not even need the table. We're so good at it. Okay. So let's take a look at our problem. Now that we know what our steps are, let's solve it. So I'm going to rewrite this. 2/3 x plus 1/4 equals 5/2. Okay, so on our table, remember we go from top to bottom. So it tells us to subtract 1/4 first. So I'm going to do that to both sides, keeping my equation balanced. That cancels out because they are opposites. I have my 2/3 x left over here. Over here, I have 5/2, take away 1/4. So I'm going to pull up my decimals calculator. I'm going to do the problem, which was 5/2 minus 1/4. So 5/2, and you're going to click this little fraction button here. So 5/2 minus fraction again, 1/4. That gives me 2.25, or if I want it in fraction form, which I do, 9/4. So let's go back. This equals 9/4. Okay. Last step we said was to divide by 2/3. So divide by 2/3. Divide by 2/3. Again, I'm going to use my Desmos calculator. All right. Don't be worried about fractions and decimals. Okay. The only reason you should be worried about them ever is if you didn't have this calculator, but you do. 9/4 divided by 2/3 equals 3.375, or if we fraction form it, 27/8. So my answer is 27/8, and that is it. Okay, you guys are going to get a chance to practice these on your own. So good luck, and I'll see you in the next video.